hopes and promises before implementation.
Sasa hiki tulichoona hapa ni mfano mzuri sana, manake hii ni hospitali kubwa kabisa kwa mikoa 5 au zaidi. Pia
tunatengeneza fungamanisho kati ya uchumi wa utalii na maisha ya watu.
Ambiguous explanations during construction.
Hela zilishaletwa, zikibakiza hela kidogo tu kwa ajili ya vitu vichache vya kumalizia.
Very few people were bold enough to question or criticize.
Na completion stage ya project ya uwanja wa ndege wa Chato ni zaidi ya 62%. Ilipitishwa wapi?
Ni lini tenda ya uwanja ule ilikuwa floated, na ni nani na nani walishindana kwenye hiyo tenda ili wapate uwanja?
This is a tale of strategic projects in Chato, Tanzania during the 5-year reign of President John Magufuli from November 2015 to March 2021.
In November 2015, the United Republic of Tanzania had a new president, John Pombe Magufuli. He came with a unique style of leadership. Everything in his administration revolved around him. Taking advantage of the public feelings about the lackadaisical leadership of his predecessor, President Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete, which was characterized by wastefulness, theft of public funds, corruption, and lawlessness, Magufuli exploited some provisions of the country's constitution that heap enormous powers on the president. He outmaneuvered both the parliament and the judiciary by co-opting them into his leadership in a typically Machiavellian style. He made use of the existing repressive laws and effected the enactment of more stringent laws to muzzle both critical and outspoken civil society organizations and media outlets. Literally, Magufuli intervened not only in other pillars of the government, but also in every sphere of life of the citizens. At one time, during his first occasion to officiate a law day in Tanzania in February 2016, President Magufuli openly requested the Chief Justice, Othman Chande, to expedite the adjudication of 442 tax cases worth 1 trillion shillings pending in court. And the president promised that when that money is paid to the government, a quarter of that amount will be paid to the judiciary to run its affairs. This was the first time in the country's history to see the president request the court to expedite adjudication of cases so that the court may benefit from the proceeds of the judgments. This documentary is about the amount of resources that President Magufuli pumped into his home district, Chato, which is located on the southern shores of Lake Victoria in northern western Tanzania during his one-term presidency. Chato district was created in 2013 2 years before Magufuli became president. Within 5 years and 3 months of his presidency, Chato boasted of 24 development projects, so-called strategic projects, unlike any other district in Tanzania. Unfortunately, following President Magufuli's sudden demise on the 17th of March 2021, the so-called strategic projects are slowly becoming white elephants. Out of 24 big projects, this documentary examines only a few of them, including Geita Airport, Burigi Chato National Park, Burigi Chato Park 5-star Hotel, Chato Zonal Referral Hospital, JS Hotel, and the gargantuan Chato bus stand, exposing the unprecedented negative desire of the head of state to pull projects to his home district, and in a speed never seen before his presidency. The purpose of this documentary is to let the public know what happens and what leaders do when they are left on their own, or when they burst out of constitutional and legal confines.
President Magufuli's personality influenced the political, social, and economic landscape of Tanzania when he assumed office. He was a strong leader who used his influence to create and destroy. And that is how several projects evolved. He established what was known as strategic projects in Chato, his home place. 24 big projects quickly started, some against legal and constitutional procedures. Complaints began. Allegations amounted. Grand corruption, abuse of power, nepotism. None of his predecessors built big projects in his home district. Julius Nyerere didn't. Ali Hassan Mwinyi didn't. Benjamin Mkapa didn't. Jakaya Kikwete didn't. But Magufuli constructed many projects. Audaciously, selfishly, and shamelessly in Chato, his home place. In 5 years and 3 months, between 2015 and 2021, a total of 24 projects were created. By the time he passed away, suddenly, in March 2021, some projects had been completed. Others were still under construction. 2 years on, what is happening in Chato? This documentary explores 4 major projects, raises questions, and 6 explanations. Officially known as Geita Airport, its construction began in September 2016, hardly 4 months into his presidency. On November 4th, 2017, the foundation stone was laid by Professor Makame Mbarawa. In his capacity as Minister for Construction, Transportation and Communications, he said the airport would open up opportunities for tourism.
Kuanza project bila kufanya tathmini manake ni failure already. Yaani lazima ufanye tathmini, ukuwe na business plan. Huu ni project ya uwanja wa ndege, utalipa. Kwa hiyo kutokufanya tathmini kwa maana ya kuangalia upembuzi yakinifu, eneo lile lilipo, ndege zitakuwa zinaruka mara ngapi, pale kuna abiria kiasi gani. Hayo mambo yote hayakufanyika. In terms of economic, kutakuwa na tija, kutakuwa na value for money kwenye ile eneo. Kwa hiyo sasa hivyo vyote havikufanyika.
Initially, 39 billion Tanzanian shillings were allocated for the project. However, by March 2018, over 50 billion Tanzanian shillings had been spent on the project. Surprisingly, the parliament had not been involved in allocating the initial budget until much later when public criticism became rife. On top of that, the construction started without a feasibility study. It raised questions, allegations, public curiosity, and criticism. But all this did not stop the construction. The 2020 to 2021 Controller and the Auditor General's report confirmed all the allegations. The CAG report also pointed out that 3.6 billion Tanzanian shillings had been diverted from other projects in other areas of the country in favor of the Chato airport. The business sense of the airport was not established.
Mwaka jana tulipitisha budget na tukakubaliana hapa kwamba ili tuelekee serikali ya viwanda, Tanzania ya viwanda, kuna baadhi ya maeneo ni lazima tuyaboreshe. Tukasema tutaboresha reli, tukasema tutaboresha barabara, bandari na maeneo mengi yenye vichocheo vya uchumi. Mheshimiwa Mwenyekiti, taarifa ya kamati inaonesha kwenye ukurasa wa 4 serikali haijapeleka bilioni 14 ambazo zilipitishwa kwa ajili ya sekta ya mawasiliano. Haijapeleka bilioni 6 ambazo tulipitisha kwa ajili ya kuboresha bandari ya Mwanza. Hawajapeleka hata senti 5. Serikali haijalipa wakandarasi, jambo ambalo limetuingiza kwenye deni la riba ya 3.9 bilioni. Pesa hizi tulipitisha, hazijapelekwa. Leo ni 2018, Watanzania wanaaminishwa tunaenda kwenye serikali ya viwanda, ili hali vichocheo ambavyo vinaweza kwenda kuhudumia viwanda kwa kusafirisha malighafi, kwa kuongeza utaalamu, mpaka leo havijapelekewa senti 5. Mheshimiwa Mwenyekiti, tulipitisha hapa bilioni 2 ikiwa ni pesa kwa ajili ya feasibility study ya uwanja wa ndege wa Chato. Feasibility study. Lakini leo tunaongea, bunge hili halikupitisha popote. Halikupitisha popote. Uwanja wa ndege wa Chato umepelekewa bilioni 42. Na completion stage ya project ya uwanja wa ndege wa Chato ni zaidi ya 62%. Ilipitishwa wapi? Bunge halikukaa, hatukuridhia, hakuna utaratibu wowote wa serikali wa kimanunuzi ambao ulifanyika kupitisha.
Some critics argued that instead of constructing the large airport that had no business value, it would have been wise to use the same funds to renovate at least 5 of the lucrative airports. Out of Tanzania's 58 airports, only 5 contribute to the country's GDP. That is Julius Nyerere International Airport, Kilimanjaro International Airport, Mwanza Airport, Arusha Airport, and Songwe Airport. The question remained, what's so special about Chato? Why was the parliament not involved? Who authorized the funds? Of course, the president had appointed his nephew, Dr. James, the permanent secretary for the finance ministry. It all boiled down to grand corruption, abuse of power, and nepotism.
Lakini jambo la msingi linalokuja hapo ni namna gani ambavyo mradi ule ulitekelezwa. Haukuwa kwenye mipango ya bajeti, haukuwa umepangiwa bajeti, hapakuwa na zabuni ambayo ni ya wazi na ya kiushindani, na pili, kampuni ambayo imepewa kufanya ile kazi ni kampuni ambayo haijawahi kujenga kiwanja cha ndege chochote kile, lakini zaidi watu wanasema, hatuna uthibitisho, ni kwamba ni kampuni ambayo ina mahusiano ya karibu sana na rais.
Our crew went to Chato in November 2022. The airport looked old and semi-abandoned. Although it had been operating since November 2018, the airport was seemingly incomplete. No ATM, no shops or shopping centers, no restaurants, no taxis, no useful infrastructure. Even the airport staff relied on the food vendors for lunch. This causes tension and acute insecurity.
Swali, huo ujenzi umekamilika kwa 100%? Sasa swali la kujiuliza sana. Kwa mfano, unasema watu wanakwenda kula kwenye restaurant nje. Kwani ramani inasemaje? Ili Chato uwanja ukamilike uwe full, ulikuwa na nini na nini na nini na nini? Je, hapo ndio umekamilika 100%? Kama haujakamilika 100%, tunahitaji kuwapa space kwamba okay, hebu malizeni alafu tuone hiki mnachokisema.
On one occasion, a flight from Dar es Salaam to Mwanza via Chato had only one passenger who disembarked at Chato. No even one passenger got on board when the flight took off from Chato to Mwanza. There is no regular flight schedule for Chato. Occasionally, Air Tanzania alone make 2 stops a week on its way to Mwanza. On 2 occasions when our crew flew to Chato, 100% of Chato's passengers were Magufuli's family members and their security staff. Critics argue that this airport is a clear case of misappropriation and abuse of public funds. Magufuli's initiative for Chato is not unique. Before him, President Mobutu Sese Seko of Zaire had done the same for his hometown, Gabolite.
Hii habari ya kujenga uwanja wa ndege Chato inatofauti gani na kujenga uwanja wa ndege Badolite kwa Mobutu Sese Seko? Na vitu vya aina hiyo. Kwa tuiambie jumuiya ya kimataifa.
Gabolite was a home to major projects, an international airport, colleges, shopping malls, ministry complex, supermarkets, libraries, and other businesses. International dignitaries flew to Gabolite. Pope John Paul II, the King of Belgium, French President, UN Secretary General Boutros Ghali, and many others. The same applies to Magufuli's Chato. Several dignitaries flew to Chato during his presidency. Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni, Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta, Mozambican President Filipe Nyusi, Ethiopian President Sahle Work Zewde, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, and many others. After Magufuli's death in March 2021, the collapse of the airport and related projects is imminent. The huge airport in Chato is apparently losing its significance. Apart from Air Tanzania, no other flight. It is becoming a white elephant. JS Hotel is probably the leading upper-class hotel in Chato. Located within the vicinity of the Geita airport, JS Hotel is the property of the late President John Magufuli, attached to a zoo of herbivorous animals. The hotel, private enterprise with an attractive panorama. It was designed to save customers landing at the airport. The hotel was commissioned on 25th December 2017, 2 years into Magufuli's presidency. Of course, there is nothing wrong with the president owning the property of that magnitude. But it is good to know that this was not the public picture that he had painted himself. To many innocent and unsuspecting observers, Magufuli described himself as a godsend to Tanzania, a liberator of the downtrodden. Very few ever thought that he was actually busy creating his own wealth from the poor. Get it right, the airport was formerly known as Chato Airport. Later, for political reason, it was renamed Geita Airport. All the same, the very plan that was well vested with the president. The mission of the airport was to benefit Chato first and President Magufuli second. That's why he quickly established a hotel never seen before in Chato. The desire was to make Chato a state-of-the-art town. JS Hotel is a spacious facility overlooking the busy Mwanza-Kagera highway, a few minutes drive from the airport. In October 2022, our crew visited the hotel. Unlike previous years, during Magufuli's reign, the security details that used to scare away the people were not visible. Business was very slow. We noticed very few guests. When we ordered fish for lunch, it was not on the menu that afternoon. Again, we were disappointed with the washroom facility adjacent to the restaurant. There was no running water. There is clear evidence that the quality of service has gone down. as many hospitality industry operators in Chato are crying of dry up of businesses due to the demise of the president, even his own hotel is not spared. It is equally on the frying pan. The hotel was strategically constructed to support the airport guests and to benefit the owner, President Magufuli. In May 2020, when the President Magufuli donated State House peacocks to some dignitaries, including a foreign president, no one suspected the move. But he was paving the way for himself to take some of the peacocks from Dar es Salaam State House for embellishing his personal property, JS Hotel in Chato. So, in essence, Chato Airport was a strategic project meant to support his personal business, JS Hotel. Two questions remain. 1. Did Magufuli use public funds to construct his personal businesses? 2. Will this beautifully designed and spacious hotel survive the cruel waves following his demise? The construction of Chato Zonal Referral Hospital began on September 18, 2017. On January 11, 2020, the foundation stone was laid by Felipe Jacinto Nyusi, the president of Mozambique.
Nashukuru pia kwa kunipa nafasi ya pamoja na rais kuweka jiwe la msingi. Hii nadhani ni bahati sana kwetu wana Msumbiji pia. Kwa shauri serikali inayoangalia afya ya wananchi ni serikali inayopenda wananchi.
There wasn't much criticism from the public, but some crucial elements were overlooked. The funds were quickly allocated and on time. In the meantime, other hospitals elsewhere took longer to construct. One question was not answered. Chato is situated within 130 kilometers from Bugando Referral Hospital in Mwanza City. Why would someone construct another zonal referral hospital in the vicinity of Mwanza, away from Mara, Shinyanga, Kagera, and Simiyu regions? The regions which, according to the minister, are to be saved by the hospital. The minister's estimates show that the hospital would save 14 million patients annually.
Mradi huu wa ujenzi wa hospitali ya kanda ya Chato ni kuwa serikali inatekeleza mradi huu kwa awamu kwa kumtumia mkandarasi wakala wa majengo ya serikali TBA. Hospitali hii itakapokamilika itahudumia takriban wananchi milioni 14 kutoka mikoa ya Kagera, Kigoma, Tabora, Rukwa, Geita na wilaya za mikoa ya Mwanza na Shinyanga ambayo inapakana na mkoa wa Geita ilipo hospitali hii.
Dr. Dorothy Gwajima said upon its completion, the referral hospital would have the capacity to save around 14 million patients annually. She said the catchment area of the hospital encompasses the region of Kagera, Kigoma, Tabora, Rukwa, Geita, Mwanza, and Shinyanga. She said the construction will be carried out in phases, of which the first one would cost 16 billion Tanzanian shillings. There seems to be an overestimation on the capacity of the hospital in the number of ways. The minister wanted to impress the public by showing that the catchment area of the facility reached the border with Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, where the Kigoma region is located. While the Minister Gwajima said that the patient's figure was around 14 million, her immediate successor, Umi Mwalimu, told the Parliamentary Committee for Social Services and Community Development that the decision to construct Chato Zonal Referral Hospital was born out of the swelling population around the Lake Zone, which is around 15 million. The Chato district website shows that the hospital has a capacity to serve between 700 to 1,000 patients per day. This roughly means 365,000 patients every year. However, in her budget speech to the Parliament for the financial year 2022 to 2023, categorically showed different number of patients who had attended in a national, referral and special hospitals as follows. The fact is, the Chato Hospital mainly serves the Chato population, a very small segment. Between July 2021 and March 2022, Chato Zonal Referral Hospital saw at least 5,000 patients. It served the fewest number of the patients in the country. There is a distance factor as well. Chato is situated far from many towns in the Lake Zone. (221 kilometers from Bukoba, 171 kilometers from Geita town, 319 kilometers from Shinyanga, 357 kilometers from Bariadi, 129 kilometers from Mwanza, and 259 kilometers from Musoma. Chato is in the periphery of the Lake Zone. One wonders how many kilometers patients should travel from other regions to access medical services at Chato Zonal Referral Hospital.
Lakini pia kuna hospitali ya kanda ambayo ilijengwa Chato. Ukiangalia kanda ni kanda ya ziwa ambayo ina mikoa inayozunguka kanda ya ziwa, mfano Geita, Mara, Shinyanga, Simiu, Kagera, Mwanza, na makao makuu ya kanda ya ziwa ni Mwanza, na pale Mwanza kuna hospitali ya Bugando, lakini hospitali ya kanda ikaenda kujenga kwenye wilaya ya Chato. Sasa hakuna mtu anaweza kutoka Mara akavuka Bugando akaenda Chato. Kwa hiyo kwa kweli ilijengwa kwa maslahi tu ya rais.
Under normal circumstances and in the proper application of the leadership wisdom, the geographical setup of the Lake Zone would have positioned Mwanza region at the center of this project. And of course, there is Bugando Referral Hospital. That wisdom, however, eluded President Magufuli. While many areas in Tanzania still lack access to healthcare facilities, this project was another way of wasting taxpayer money for personal gratification of the president. It's another white elephant. In the 1980, Burigi Game Reserve was established. Its name is derived from Lake Burigi in the Kagera region. It covers more than 2,000 square kilometers. With Magufuli becoming president in 2015, and with his constructing the huge airport in Chato, the changes that followed didn't spare the name of the Burigi Game Reserve. On 9th July 2019, following the government decision to transform and expand Game Reserve, President Magufuli inaugurated it. It acquired a new name, Burigi Chato National Park. But it never went without criticism. The national park was created by merging the Burigi, Biharamulo, and Kimisi game reserves located in Biharamulo, Ngara, Karagwe, and Muleba districts, all in the Kagera region. Although it expanded to 4,707 square kilometers, it never extended to Chato, which is located in the Geita region. Hence, it is hard to justify the name Burigi Chato. Among strong critics is the Biharamulo Member of the Parliament, Ezra Chiwelesa. In his opinion, the name Burigi National Park was relevant enough. During the same time, President Magufuli created other national parks, including Ibanda Kyerwa National Park, located in Kyerwa, Rumanika National Park, located in Karagwe, Nyerere National Park, located in Ruvuma, Lindi, Pwani, and Morogoro, Kigosi National Park, located in Kigoma, Tabora, and Geita, Ugala River National Park, located in Tabora. Except for Nyerere, all newly established national parks retain the original names from their localities. It was only Chato that was squeezed onto Burigi to form the name Burigi Chato. The Chato Gate is located more than 100 kilometers away from the reserve. There is a striking resemblance between Burigi Chato National Park and Chato Airport in terms of availability of certain facilities, especially transport for arriving passengers. When landing at Chato Airport, one has to have prior arrangements for the transport to pick them up, as no public transport is readily available. The trip to the Burigi Chato National Park looks like a nightmare. Our crew spent an entire week in Chato town trying to organize transport to the national park. After 4 days of failed attempts in both Geita and Chato towns, we resorted to Mwanza city, some 130 kilometers away, for potential transport. The deal was finally sealed, and then the plan was to pick our team from Chato. A week had elapsed. But the misery never ended with securing this transport. Our way into the park was equally problematic. The authorities advised our crew to obtain the permit from the Biharamulo gate, about 70 kilometers from Chato. The distance from Mwanza to Chato by road via Busisi ferry is 238 kilometers, while Mwanza to Biharamulo via Busisi is 257.9 kilometers. Initially, the transport provider from Mwanza had settled on 500,000 Tanzanian shillings for the day's trip. Given changes of the route, we had to renegotiate the cost of the car hire and settled at 700,000 Tanzanian shillings. Our team eventually entered the park after 8 days. Certainly, these hustlers do not create a good impression on the authorities' preparedness to promote tourism in the national park.
Msaada kutoka sekta mbalimbali ambazo zinakuza utalii haukuwepo isipokuwa utashi binafsi wa rais. Unapozungumzia utalii unazungumzia mambo mengi. Unazungumzia uwepo wenyewe wa vivutio vya utalii, uwepo wa huduma za kibenki, uwepo wa huduma za usafirishaji, uwepo wa hotel. Hiyo desire ya watu wengi kuwekeza kwenye utalii ilikuwa ndogo kwa sababu jambo lile lilitokana na kauli ya mtu mmoja na sio matashi ya wadau wote wa maendeleo.
It raises questions on the political and business environment under which the Burigi Chato National Park was established and how it is being managed.
Kazi tunayo idea kubwa, lakini tuna kazi sisi kama serikali sasa kuwaongoza wananchi nao washiriki kwenye uchumi mpana. Na hii ndio changamoto kubwa ambayo inaelezwa kwenye mpango wa taifa wa maendeleo miaka 5 ambao ulianza mwaka 2016 utaenda mpaka 2021, ambapo tunaelekezwa Wizara ya Maliasili na Utalii kuhakikisha tunatengeneza linkage, tunatengeneza fungamanisho kati ya uchumi wa utalii na maisha ya watu.
There is an outcry among Biharamulo residents and Kagera region in general that President Magufuli's administration drew their land into forming the national park, but the motive was to propel Chato economically at the expense of the poor people in Kagera region. According to the Biharamulo Member of Parliament, the presence of Chato on the name of the national park is an unfair arrangement designed to benefit Chato in terms of proceeds of tourism connected to the park, such as accommodation, vending businesses, transportation, and any other amenities that support the hospitality industry. The inauguration of Burigi Chato National Park, which took place at Katete village in the Chato district, Geita region, had some foul play, including breaking the law. It was a big party. At least 2 buffaloes were killed to facilitate the availability of meat. According to Section 8.10.1 of the National Policies for National Parks in Tanzania of 1994, hunting is prohibited in all parks. Hunting will be prohibited in all national parks. Section 8.10.5 states, under no circumstances will TANAPA authorize the collection and transportation of the park resources for the use or consumption outside the park boundaries. It thus raises questions. Who authorized the killing of the buffaloes. For what benefit? Will it not encourage illegal hunting within the park? By all standards, killing the buffaloes was a regrettable decision against good management of the national park. The general condition of the park is quite impressive in terms of habitation of the animals, especially herbivores. Buffaloes, giraffes, impalas, zebras. The park is full of vegetation and quite a big chunk of the area is covered by thick forests. But access to the park poses a major stumbling block. Whether tourists use roads or go by air, they still have to drive several kilometers either through Nyungwe Gate in Ngara or Mganza in Chato, which has been closed, or Rusumo in Ngara. By air, a tourist may use Konje Airstrip or Biharamulo Airstrip or Geita Airport. From Geita Airport, a tourist has to drive 263 kilometers to the main gate, Nyungwe, in Ngara. There are no hotel facilities close to the park or inside the park. This situation calls for serious investment of such facilities inside the park or nearby. A long distance drive to the park's gate, coupled with poor access roads and lack of accommodation, cannot convince a tourist to be a good ambassador of the park. This is a serious issue that authorities have to address if they want to see the Burigi Chato National Park as a dependable tourist destination in Tanzania. At Rubambagwe area, Chato district, more than 160 kilometers from the gate of the Burigi Chato National Park, President Magufuli constructed a 3-star hotel, a beach hotel. And for some reason, it was named Burigi Chato Hotel. On 10th July 2019, then Tourism Minister Hamis Kigwangalla laid the foundation stone of the well-planned hotel. Why the hotel was built in Chato on the shore of Lake Victoria, away from the national park, is a vital question. The construction started on 4th April 2020. It was scheduled to be ready by 14th April 2021. More than 11 billion Tanzanian shillings were allocated. The contract was awarded to Suma JKT Lake Zone.
Tutakuwa na hoteli ya vyumba 50 hapa na tutakuwa na mchanganyiko wa vyumba. Tuna executive rooms na kuna presidential suites na pia kutakuwa na standard rooms. Sasa zile presidential suites zitakuwa isolated, zitakuwa ni units 4 ambazo zitakuwa kila unit inajitegemea.
However, the Controller and the Auditor's General Report of 2020 to 2021 highlighted the inability of the contractor to perform the work due to poor equipment and the lack of proper procurement procedure. The project already smells of corruption. As a consequence, The beach hotel was never completed on time. When we visited the site in October 2022, a few masons were on site. No major movement of any kind. Grass had overgrown all over the site. After Suma JKT Lexon failed to meet the April 2021 deadline, they were given an extension to March 2022. 7 months after the extension deadline, the site was not impressive.
Jambo kama hili kwamba serikali inaweza ikawekeza fedha nyingi eneo fulani kwa ajili ya kumfurahisha mtawala aliyopo, maana yake ni kwamba anapoondoka uwekezaji wote ule unakuwa ni kama vile umepotea. Ndio maana baada ya kuondoka kwa Rais Magufuli huoni jitihada za kukuza utalii Chato, huoni jitihada za kuendeleza na kiwanja cha ndege kilichoachwa, huoni jitihada kwa sababu ulikuwa ni utashi wa mtu mmoja binafsi.
Some local residents around Rubabangwe who spoke anonymously claimed that the slowdown on site was due to the demise of President Magufuli in March 2021. Another sad story. Before Magufuli's presidency, Chato was an ordinary district with an infrastructure like any other district. One of the Magufuli's major projects is a huge bus terminal under construction. Looking at its size, one would imagine there are millions of transport plans in the chest of the planners to warrant such massive infrastructure even after 50 years from today.
Kwa hiyo miradi kuchelewa haimaanishi imefutwa. Huenda sasa kipaumbele kimebadilika. Sasa hili ni tatizo la nchi nzima. Sio tatizo la Chato peke yake, la nchi nzima. Watu wanakosa kuwa na vipaumbele kama taifa, tunakosa kabisa. Kwa hiyo akija mwingine anakwala kwake, akija mwingine anakwala kwake.
Bigger cities like Arusha, which contribute immensely to the state coffers, remain in a dire need of adequate bus terminals. President Magufuli's administration had the guts to spend billions of shillings of taxpayers' money on the project that would only glorify Chato but had little or no returns on investment. This relates also to Daladala bus stand, which is 100 times 75 meters, estimated to accommodate up to 100 minibuses. However, records shows that less than 20 minibuses ply the roads in the area. Many business stalls constructed around the terminal are not occupied. Prospective clients complained that there was no business to warrant the amount of rent, amounting to 50,000 Tanzanian shillings per month per stall. Out of 50 stalls, only 19 had occupants by November 2022. The major bus terminal structure is 200 times 150 meters, and it is estimated to accommodate 130 buses, all in the Tini district, Chato. One may argue that it is a good plan ahead, hence defend the seemingly over-ambitious project by Magufuli. But that is not the issue here. The issue is how the head of state draws dry coffers of the state only for advancement of his village and at the expense of all taxpayers. This doesn't only amount to favoring his people, it is a systematic impoverishment of others elsewhere. It is inimical. Magufuli had an inherent plan to create a new administrative region of Chato. This explains his ambition to establish Chato as the modern city that never was. The idea that emerged in the last 2 or 3 years before Magufuli's death, when the discussion was prompted by Geita's Regional Consultative Committee, RCC. In their proposal, Chato region was meant to constitute the district of Chato, Bukombe, and Kakonko from the current Geita region, and 2 other districts of Biharamulo and Ngara from Kagera region. However, 2 years after his death, the idea encountered a shattering blow when the same Regional Consultative Council blocked the move, saying Chato was not ripe enough to become a new region. The decision coincided with the President Samia Suluhu's caution that Chato's status as a new region was not yet determined.
Kuna vigezo kadhaa ambavyo bado tunaendelea kuviangalia, na vigezo hivi vikikidhi, basi tunakwenda kulimaliza jambo hilo.
Even before Magufuli's death, some prominent personalities, mainly from the Kagera region, including bishops, a former minister, and a social media group known as Friends of Bukoba, had strongly opposed the establishment of the Chato region, annexing some parts of the Kagera region in that endeavor. For the construction of bus stops in Chato's Kahumo village, only a small fraction of the project has been completed. It includes the huge bus stand and minibus stand. More than 15 acres were allocated for the project. Mayanga Contractors Company Limited was awarded the tender. The project was planned to have been completed by July 2021. By March 2022, the construction of the new bus stop in Chato had spent 13 billion Tanzanian shillings and it was 90% complete.
Mpya ya Chato iliyogharimu jumla shilingi bilioni 13.2 imefikia 90% na mabasi madogo yameshaanza kuingia. Nataka niwaahidi wana Chato, miradi hii itakapokamilika kabisa, nitakuja mwenyewe kuifungua kama angefanya Dr. Magufuli angekuwepo.
In April 2022, Geita Regional Commissioner Rosemary Senyamule said she was not satisfied with the slow pace of the construction.
Hela zilishaletwa zikibakiza hela kidogo tu kwa ajili ya vitu vichache vya kumalizia. Lakini kinachosikitisha hapa ni kwamba hata vile vilivyoletewa hela havijaisha. Kwa hatuna sababu yote ya kujitetea kuwa kuna hela haijaja. Ingekuwa imeisha kuja na haijaja, tunasema hela haijaja, ndio maana tunasubiri.
In November 2022, the construction was still going on. The minibus stand is complete and running. But the construction of the bus stand raises a lot of criticism among Tanzanians. This is Geita region bus stand. This is what it looks like. Dusty ground. And this is the view from the Chato bus stand. What we see before our eyes tell us more than what we can see. The completion day is still in puzzle. At the center of Chato's strategic projects lies Mayanga Constructors Company Limited, who was given a lion's share of these projects. The profile of the company tells us a lot about its nature, history, management, and ownership. The company history demonstrates that it won many tenders and completed only a few of the projects. Steve Makigo, the company director, is on record. He went to the same school with Magufuli twice. First, as his classmate in Lake Secondary School in Mwanza. Second, as his college mate at the University of Dar es Salaam. During Magufuli's presidential campaign in 2015, Steve Makigo became Magufuli's right-hand man in financial matters. So, to Magufuli, Makigo was a friend, a brother, a mate, a buddy, an insider. No wonder some critics accused Magufuli of nepotism, favoritism, and tribalism because of the way he babysitted Makigo by awarding him a lucrative projects without any competitive tender process. Rightly or wrongly, some sources associated Magufuli with the silent ownership of Mayanga Contractors Company Limited. The company does not seem to have a good reputation. When it was awarded the tender to construct the airport, critics complained because the company had never been involved in any airport construction anywhere in the world. It was no surprise, therefore, when the Controller and the Auditor General reported that the company had started construction before doing any feasibility study. This also explains the fact of hiked cost for the airport construction from the original 39 billion Tanzanian shillings to the eventual 58 billion Tanzanian shillings. The cost for the bus stand also increased from the original 6 billion Tanzanian shillings to 13 billion Tanzanian shillings. Even the way the company was registered twice with different names leaves much to be desired. Because of the way the tenders were awarded, the laws were not properly followed. The same authorities behind the tender awards, because of the conflict of interest, failed to take action when the projects were not completed in time. The CAG had openly said that the parliament was apparently weak, failing to hold the government responsible.
Ni jambo ambalo kimsingi ni kazi ya bunge. Kama tunatoa ripoti inaonekana kuna ubadhirifu halafu hatua zichukuliwi, huo kwangu mimi ni udhaifu wa bunge. Bunge linatakiwa lisimamie na hakikisha kwamba pale penye matatizo basi hatua zinachukuliwa. Sasa sisi kazi yetu ni kutoa ripoti tu, na huo udhaifu nafikiri ni jambo la kusikitisha, lakini ni jambo ambalo tunaamini muda si mrefu huenda litarekebishika.
It was not much of surprise, therefore, when the president terminated the CAG employment and appointed another one against constitutional requirements as the court of law came to determine later. Under Magufuli, Makigo and his company was untouchable. The Chato white elephants are simply a tip of an iceberg, a sign of the grand corruption under President Magufuli. The Constitution of Tanzania, as it stands today, breeds an imperial presidency. Until it is changed, Tanzanians will never be able to hold the president accountable for any corrupt practices. Something must be done to stop the vicious cycle.